In WWE 2K20, there's a brief moment in the first chapter, the part where Red gets Trey's parents' letter out of his locker, where we can briefly see the backs of two other kids, and it looks like they reused the models of the first two kids from the first cutscene in WWE 2K19. The one where the kid recognized Buzz on the flyer and her boyfriend wondered why a wrestler would be driving a crappy bug van. Well, I would propose that these aren't just recycled character models, but are in fact the exact same kids, just like how this man and this man are the same character in both games, not just a recycled character model. What's up guys, Acer Thorn here, and welcome to another video game lore and story analysis video. I do these analysis and discussion videos on a regular basis, so if you'd like to see more of them, hit that subscribe button to stay notified. During Red and Trey's run on the Indies, it is established that BCW is set up in their old hometown of Fulton. Unfortunately, I was unable to pin down what state this city was located in. There are quite a few states in the USA which have cities named Fulton. At first, I thought I might be able to pin down the state Fulton is in by using a real-life reference made early in the game.
See that sign? Our faces are going to be on it someday.
You really think we can become more famous than the inventor of the paper toilet seat cover? He put a lot of butts in seats.
And when we make it to WWE, so will we.
Unfortunately, my efforts to find that guy's birthplace proved fruitless for two reasons. First, Bob Ruggio is not actually the historically credited inventor of the paper toilet seat cover. The first person to file a patent for such a product is known as J.C. Tomasa, so it's clear that they just made up a random guy to use to set up for a rather lame put butts in seats double entendre joke. Lame. Second, even for J.C. Tomasa, I was still unable to find any information on him other than the fact that he's the credited inventor of the paper toilet seat cover. I wasn't able to find diddly squat about his life, least of all his place of birth, so sadly it seems that the state that this town is located in will be a mystery unless maybe 2K decides to reveal some more details about this town in WWE 2K21. Stay tuned for that video, if it ever comes out. Anyway, if you accept Baron's offer to sign an exclusive deal with BCW, then 10 years later, Red is working at the same school as a janitor, which is also the venue where Baron hosts all of his BCW shows.
I'm a part-time janitor at our old high school, and we're about to wrestle in front of 10 people.
This lends enormous credence to the theory that this was also the venue of the first match we had in WWE 2K19's My Career mode, the one Matt Bloom attends. So this would suggest that the BCW high school venue is also the same high school that Red and Trey came from. That's all fine and good, but how does that make those two kids the exact same kids as before? Surely they would have grown up in between games, seeing as Buzz and Cole's invasion of NXT is said to have occurred 12 years before the events of Red and Trey's Hall of Fame induction.
What, you mean when we invaded NXT together like 12 years ago? I would think you've gotten over that by now.
No.
However, let's also remember that this year's My Career actually makes quite a few time skips. When Red and Trey have their conversation with Baron Blade about the exclusive deal, Baron gives an abridged account of everything that happened in WWE 2K19. This means that this chapter took place almost immediately after those events happened in Universe. Earlier in that same cutscene, Trey and Red referred to his last conversation with his adoptive parents, which happened in Calgary, as occurring 4 years ago in Universe.
But you haven't talked to them since Calgary, which was like 4 years ago.
This conversation happened less than a semester after he pretended to go off to college.
It's not too late to try to put all this behind us. We'll activate the SUV if you come home now. Then I can try to get you re-enrolled in school for next semester.
So this means that the scene in BCW happened about 4 years after Red and Trey graduated from high school. So this begs the question, exactly how long is the My Career mode for WWE 2K19? Well, once Buzz makes it to WWE, we can use the pay-per-view events to roughly gauge how much time passes for the rest of the story. We begin our WWE career right before the Backlash pay-per-view, which occurred in the month of May for the years 2017 and 2018, and culminates at WrestleMania, which is usually held on the first Sunday of April. This means that once Buzz makes it to WWE, the story lasts about a year. His time before making it to WWE, however, is harder to pin down, since we don't have a real-life promotion to use as a template. However, right before the Scrap Trap match, Buzz does say it has been at least a few months since they wrestled in high school gyms, and it was immediately after the Scrap Trap that Buzz and Cole hatched their plan to invade NXT. So I'm going to be generous and say that the entirety of the WWE 2K19's My Career mode, from the night Matt Bloom visits BCW to the climax at WrestleMania, takes place over the course of a maximum of a year and a half. The conversation where Baron offers exclusive deals to Red and Trey is taking place immediately after the events of WWE 2K19, most likely 1 to 2 months after that. Now, combine that with the fact that the conversation between Trey and his parents happened immediately after Winterfest 2015, and this conversation is happening 4 years later. That means that this conversation is taking place in either late spring or early summer of 2019. This is consistent with the real-life history of WWE to the extent that 2K would be able to know said history, as Red is invited immediately after this event to participate in the 3rd annual Mae Young Classic, which was initially held in 2017.
The reason I'm calling is to see if you'd like to compete in the 3rd annual Mae Young Classic.
So anyway, if Baron's conversation takes place in mid-2019, and it is 18 months after Matt Bloom visited the old BCW, that means that the cutscene in 2K20 where these two kids appear would have taken place about 2 to 3 years before the cutscene in 2K19 where they talk to Buzz. So all of that was to say this: their lack of change in appearance actually makes sense when you consider how little time is in between these two cutscenes. It's very easy to simply accept that these two kids were either freshmen or sophomores in this cutscene, while being either juniors or seniors in this one. So yeah, I absolutely can buy that these kids would look the same in both cutscenes, especially when you consider that we never even see their faces in WWE 2K20, but instead only see them from the back. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking right now. Does this mean that Buzz actually went to school with Red and Trey? Well, possibly. There's nothing in either game that necessarily states that he even went to the same high school as Red and Trey at all. Maybe he was in a neighboring school district. However, Buzz started wrestling about a year before Red and Trey did. Red and Trey's first match happened at an event called Winterfest 2015. This means that Red and Trey created their list during the 2014-2015 school year. This means that they would be creating their own list around the time Buzz was waist deep into his first year on the Indies, as evidenced by the date of Buzz's dad's old recorded voicemail.
Message from July 12, 2014.
Hey, it's your dad. Sorry I can't make it to your first match tonight.
So if Buzz's first match was on July 12, 2014, and Red and Trey wrestled their first match in winter of 2015, there is a very good chance that Buzz perhaps went to the same school and maybe even had some classes with Red and Trey. This would certainly bring new context to Buzz's message to Trey after Trey lands the lead role in Rank and File 4, where he says that he would like to face Trey, but sadly they are always on opposite shows. Buzz wants to face Trey so bad because he actually remembers Trey from school. Unfortunately, at this point, there is no substantial evidence to support such a theory. We never see Buzz in WWE 2K20 since the game clearly does not import our character from WWE 2K19 into this game. He only appears in voice and in text, and because of that, because Trey and Buzz never actually come face to face, we will most likely never get any kind of confirmation about that. But hey, who'd have thunk it that the WWE 2K series would have such interesting mythos and lore behind it? The fact that I am able to find solid connections just on the 2 high school kids alone is more than I would have expected from a wrestling game's story mode. So from where I'm standing, it definitely looks like 2K is going the extra mile in their My Career mode. So with that said, until next time, I bid you all adieu. Acer Born out. Peace!